Good afternoon everyone. We are now going to do the questions for the PSLE workshop. This is Mr. Ting here. So there were some questions which I wasn't able to do, so apologize for that, and took quite a while because I was actually recovering from a flu. So here it is. Now if you take a look at the questions here, this is the worksheet that we have. When we did the conversion, some of the numbers is ran, as you can see over here. So just try to follow what we have in your own notes. So we're going to start with question number 2. Question number 2 is actually at the bottom of the worksheet, which is over here. So kindly refer to that. Okay, well, I'm going to do the working somewhere at the top in this space. Alright, let me just choose the correct type of pen. Okay, that's great. Okay, so let's take a look at the question. So there's a box full of pens and erasers. Pamela put in an additional 80 pens into the box, and the percentage of pens increased from 10 to 30%. So first of all, we have to ask ourselves which variable did not change. So for this particular question, which variable did not change? Okay, it is the erasers. How do I know that? Because Pamela put in additional 80 pens into the box, and the percentage of pens increased from 10 to 30%. So only the number of pens were added into the box. So what I do is I set up a before and after table having two variables, pens and erasers, like this. So I have before plus or minus and after. Okay, so let's try to fill in the information first. So we have Pamela putting in additional 80 pens, and the percentage of pens increased from 10 to 30%, which means that at first here is 1 unit and here is 9 units. Why? Because of the 10%. So I have the 1 unit over here. So I added in additional 80, and then it became 3 parts is to 7 parts. Now why 3 parts here? Because it became 30%. Okay, so I have a before and after table like that. So which variable did not change? The number of erasers. Okay, which means that I need to make this the same, the number of erasers the same. So how do I do that? Let's try to find the common multiple between 9 and 7. So what's the common multiple? It's going to be 63. So the first row I'm going to multiply by 7, and here multiply by 9. Right? So the number of pens eventually I'll get 7x, because 1 times 7 is 7, and 3 times 9 is 27x over here. And I know I added 80 pens. Now from here immediately I can deduce that 20x represents 80 pen. So 1x has got to be 4. And since the question is how many more erasers than pens were there at the end, how many more erasers than pen? Look at the number of erasers and pens. I take 63, take away 27 is equals to 36. So I'm trying to find 36x. It should be 36 times 4, which is equals to 144. So the answer is 144 for this particular question. Okay, apologize for the run in the numbers. I'm not sure why, but when I do the conversion from Word to PDF, it just changed. Okay, so you just have to refer to the correct question, and the solutions are in purple. Alright, so next question. Okay, so this is much better. Next question here is this. Let's try to use another color. Alright, let's get some blue. Okay, done. Thickness. Okay, so there was a total of 440 men and women in the park. 25% of them were women. When some men left the park, the percentage of women increased to 55. So which did not change? It's the women. Okay, the variable women did not change. So I try to set up a before and after table. In this particular question, we have two variables. One is the men and the other one is the women. So I have women and men. Before, plus or minus, and after. So at first, there were a total of 440 men and women, and 25% of them were women. So I take 25 out of 100, multiply that by 440, that has got to be 110, which means that there are 110 women at first. Now since there are 110 women, there has got to be 330 men, because 440 take away 110 equals to 330. Okay, so this is the numbers before. So we were told that some men left the park. So do not know how many, but some left the park, and the percentage of women increased to 55%. So this became 55%. Since it's 55%, this must be 45%, because both of these add together should give me 100%. Okay, so let's try to check. So since the number of women did not change, I must make this the same, and I will try to set up another table here. Right, this is my working. Okay, so let's set another table. Women, sorry, let's try that again. Women, men, before, plus or minus, after. So what's the common multiple between 110 and 55? It's actually 110, and this make it 110. I actually have to multiply by 2, this also multiply by 2, so this becomes 90, and here is 330. Right, take away how many? So from here straight away I know for 330 to become 90, we have to take away 240, because 330 minus 90 equals to 240. Okay, so what we are trying to find now is how many men were left in the park. So straight away I can tell that the answer is 90. So the answer straight away is 90. Okay, and how did we do that? We made the number of women the same, and from there we were able to find the answer. Okay, this is a before and after, single, unchanged. Next question. Okay, so the next question is about total unchanged. So we have to find the total number that did not change, and let's take a look at the question. So in Jurong Bird Park, the ratio of number of pigeons to sparrows is 8:5. 1 year later, the number of sparrows increased by 20%. So straight away I know the values, some values which I can use. Right, first there are two variables here. Which variable did not change? Is the total number of birds, where is being mentioned the total number of pigeons and sparrows remains the same. So the total number of birds remain the same. And which are the two variables? I have pigeon and sparrow. Okay, so at first, before, plus, minus, and after. So before that, the ratio of pigeons to sparrow is 8:5. So I have 8 units and 5 units. Oops. 5 units here. So 1 year later, number of sparrows increased by 20%. So this plus 20%, and some pigeons flew away. So this is a question mark. Now, first we have to find what is 20% of 5. Working here. So what's 20% of 5? It's the same as 1 over 5 times 5. So that's like 1. Okay, so here has got to be 6 units, because 20% of 5u equals to 1u, right? So this is actually plus 1u. This 20% here is the same as 1 unit, so I get 6 units over here. Now here comes the tricky part. Now they told us that the total number remain the same, so what I do is I have a total here. Now what's the total for the pigeon and sparrow at first? It's 13. Now since the total remains unchanged, this has got to be 13 as well. Now if this is 13 and this is 6, this must be 7, because if I take 13 take away 6 equals to 7. So this is 7u. So now the question is this: find the percentage of pigeons that flew away. Percentage of pigeons that flew away. Now I know that 1 unit flew away, so it is 1 out of 8 multiplied by 100. Answer is 12.5%. Right? So that's the percentage of pigeons that flew away. Next question. Okay, this one. Okay, for the next question, this is total and change again. Let's read and find out why. Okay, so Rye's saving was 5 over 13 the amount Casey had in her saving. So two variable, Rye, Cassie. So before plus minus after. So Roy had 5 units and Cassie had 13 units as shown over here. Cassie then transferred $600 from her savings to Roy. So here take away 600, here add 600. As a result, Roy's saving is 0.5 times of Cassie's saving, which means that Roy had 0.5 and Cassie had 1. So that's like 0.5 times. Okay, but let me try to change it to whole numbers, so it's easier to work with whole numbers. So here's one part, here's 2 parts. So I know that the total did not change. Why? Because Cassie transferred 600 from hers to Roy. So the total did not change because we minus 600 here and then we add 600 here. So the total amount that they have should be the same. So I have a total unchanged again, which gives me 18 units here. Because I add these two together, it gives me 3 parts. I need to make this the same. Let's draw another table. So I have Roy, Cassie. Now I need to see what is the common multiple between 18 and 3. That has got to be 18. So I want to make total 18. That means this whole row needs to multiply by 6 to become the same as 18, since the total did not change. Okay, so let's take a look. The top part remains the same. Here is still plus 600, take away 600, and the bottom multiply by 6, so I get 6x. This becomes 12x. Right, so now I have the same total. So total is 18x, and here's 18x. Now once I have 18, I can compare. Immediately I know that 1x represents $600. And the question is, what was the total amount of saving Roy and Cassie had? Both of them had 18x, so that's 600 times 18, and the answer is $10,800. Okay. Next. For the next question, this is about difference unchanged. The difference between the two did not change. Okay, the difference did not change. So let's try and see. Okay, so Rena's salary is 7 or 11 of her husband. So Rena is 7U and the husband is 11 units. So each of them saves 390 and spends the rest of their money. If Rena's expenditure, okay, so since both of them save 390, that means the difference between before the saving and after the saving should be the same. So let's take a look. Alright, so which did not change is the difference. Right, so I need a little bit more space. I have a Rena and a husband. Before plus minus after, right, is the difference. So at first Rena has 7U, the husband is 11 units. So each saves 390. So take away 390 from what they have, take away 390. The difference here is 4U. After that, the Rena's expenditure to that of her husband is in the ratio 1:2, so I get 1 part, 2 parts, and the difference now is just 1 part. Now I need to make the difference the same, which means that the entire row here, the entire row over here has to multiply by 4, so to make it the same as this, since it's a difference unchanged type of question. Right, let's change the color, it's blue. Okay, right, so let's recalculate. So Rena, husband, and difference. Now the first row remains the same at 4, 11, and 7. Still take away 390, take away 390, but eventually this is 4, this is 8, and this is 4 as well. So it's very clear now that 3x is equivalent to 390. So 1x represents 130, and to find how much they have, each person's salary, 7x is 910, and 11x, which is the husband, is 1430. Okay, two solutions here just by finding the difference, because the difference did not change. Next one. Okay, this is the favorite type of question that teachers love to ask. Is about the age, right? To solve age questions, we also need to understand that the difference did not change. Right, so let's see how we can do this. So Uncle Patrick is 24 years old, so clearly here we have two variables, Patrick and the nephew, right, with a difference. Now why is it difference unchanged? Because the age gap will never change. It does not matter how many years before, how many years has passed, right? The uncle will always be 24 years older than the nephew. So we know that the difference is always 24. His age will be 3 times his nephew's in 6 years time, so I do plus 6. So in 6 years time, this will be 3 parts and this is 1 part. So the difference between these two, if I take away, is 2 parts. So I do not know this, I do not know this, okay, but I know that the difference should be the same. So let's try to make the difference the same, which means that this whole row must multiply by 12, so that it will be equal to 24. Right, so let's see how to do that. Multiply by 12. So we have Patrick again, nephew, and the difference 24 here becomes 24, right? So this is still a question mark, but plus 6, this becomes 12, this is 36, so question mark plus 6. And now I can try to work backwards. So how do I work backwards? Let's take a look, okay? So something plus 6 gives me 12. If I take 12, take away 6 equals to 6. This has got to be 6. Something plus 6 gives me 36. Well, this has got to be 30, because 36 take away 6 equals to 30. So Uncle Patrick is clearly 30 years old and the nephew is 6 years old now. So the sum of their present age, 30 plus 6 equals to 36. Right, so this is the answer for before and after. Now, before and after questions are very popular among the prelim papers, so it pays for you to know them well. Okay, for the next part, I'll be going through the common ratio questions.